What's good, family? It's your boy Old Soul J, and I'm back with another video. Today I want to talk about a few of my experiences with spiritual energy. Now, if you're new here, let me just let you know one of the main things that I talk about, so much on this channel is why people should do spiritual practices and the benefit from it, such as the simple ones like meditation, breathwork, even yoga. But this is the thing. Just meditation and breath work alone can do wonders for you. If you're doing the right steps, if you're taking the right steps, you're doing the right things. I have a video on here. I'm going to put a screenshot of it. I believe it's called This Technique Can Change Your Life. It's along those lines. And that video, I show you step by step a couple breathwork exercises that are very powerful, that if you did consistently over a period of time, it will literally change the vibrational frequency in your body, and it will show. Now, I haven't really given any types of meditation. Meditating is such a popular thing today that you could just find out how to do that so simply. And then once you learn how to regularly meditate, then you could start doing advanced meditations, like certain types of energy meditations, and they work wonders. Now, to start this off, something that I feel often now that I've been meditating for a couple years, or more than a couple years really. I started meditating about 7 years ago. Now, meditation consistently, that's probably been a couple years, maybe 3-4 years ago. Breath work, I didn't start doing breath work till about 2-3 years ago. That was something I felt, because I was doing powerful breath work exercises right away, that was something that I felt benefit from quicker. Well, you know what? I'm not even sure if that's true. I was going to say quicker than meditation, but I'm not really sure if that's the case. Now, one of the things that happens to me often when I meditate or do breath work, I can feel my body vibrating. Anybody who's experiencing this can tell you this. See, as I say it, I know that the average person, most people have never experienced that, so they won't believe it. This is not something that is highly talked about in popular media, unless you're into this type of stuff. And it's definitely not spoken about on the news, on the TV screen, and it's definitely not spoken about in schools growing up. And when we're young, we're adolescent kids, those are the times where we are the most receptive, at least in time periods of our lives, where we're most receptive to information. That's where our beliefs are strongest, or they stem from, unless you become conscious enough to reprogram the mind. So of course you wouldn't believe the possibilities that come with meditation. And I'm talking outside of manifestation. A lot of people teach using meditation to manifest, but I'm not even going to speak about that, at least for this video. Now, one of the main things that happens to me, yes, my body starts to vibrate. I can feel my literal aura around my body pulsating. It's like this. It pulsates like this. This is how it feels. But it's around my body, and it's not just a calming sensation. It just feels good. It feels good, right? And that's also something that happens when I do breath work, but it's a little bit different. It's hard to explain. It's a similar feeling, but it just feels a little bit different. But also what I feel from it is the after effect. It's almost like being high. I know a lot of people can relate to that, smoking weed. When I say high, it's different types of highs, but it's like its own version of high, because it's not like weed high, because at least from my experience, I was a habitual weed smoker from 16 to 22, and at least from my experience, the breathwork high wouldn't give you the tiredness, the grogginess that weed would give me, at least. I know certain people would say if they smoke sativa, people would tell me that they don't feel that, but everyone's different, I guess. I felt it regardless. It was just worse with indica. But like I was saying, breath work, once your body gets accustomed to it, or you start building up that energy. I mean, for me, I think everyone's different, so I can't say how long it will take for you, but it shouldn't really take long if you're really doing it consistently, 5 minutes every day. It really should not take long. It's just that nobody is really consistent. Some people try these things 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and they just go back to their old ways. You gotta really actually want to do it. You got to really have a passion, a fire, a drive for it. That's why I don't really try to tell people, family members and stuff like that, to do it, because even if I tell them the benefits I get from it, some of them might believe me, but they're still not going to actually do it. So there's not much point in talking about it. But that high is a little more lasting than the meditation high. I mean, the meditation just alters the way you think and the way you experience life. You just become more conscious on a regular basis. But now the breath work is just energy work. So that feeling that you feel, you just feel better. You feel lighter. Meditation is more about how you perceive reality and how present you are and how you think and things of that nature, just being more aware. Breathwork now, it's raising your vibration, it's raising your frequency. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel lighter. You feel like you'll flow easier. It calms the mind. Meditation and breathwork both do that, right? Now, I'm rambling a little bit. I'm not, because that is part of the experience. That is the main reason why you should do these things. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all a story. It's a short story, but it was just confirmation for me, and I just thought it was something I definitely have to share. I used to build train tracks. I had a job where I was a construction job. If you're from New York, you're very familiar with transit. I used to work for transit, and I was a track worker. So we repaired train tracks. And around this time, I was heavy doing yoga, right? And I didn't even mention yoga. And remember, I said in the beginning of the video, you don't even necessarily have to do yoga, but yoga to me is on another level as opposed to meditation and breathwork, because it's almost like a combination of both of those things, and then you add in poses, and it's specific types of yoga. There's so many different styles of yoga. They're all gonna help you spiritually in a sense, but some of them are just more fitness, just more like mental clarity type of things. There's levels to it. So yoga is like meditation, breath work. The type of yoga I do, like, all right, I'll tell you, I've said it in the past, but sadhana, I don't even know if I say that right, but I know it's spelled Sadhana. Sadhana yoga, this is now spiritual yoga. This is the type of yoga that yogis and monks would do. And this yoga is a combination of breathwork, meditation, and poses. Now, these poses are like full body mudras. Now, in the future, I will be making a video about mudras for sure. But if you don't know what mudras are, they're just hand symbols. Like, you've all seen this before. You've seen this in Buddha statues. You've seen this in different deity statues. And you've seen this as a kid growing up when people meditate. They have their hands like this. Why do they have their hands like this? They're not doing it for show. They do it because this is a mudra that helps you focus. And they do it during meditation because the better you focus when you're meditating, the better you're meditating. The better it is, the more benefit you get from it. Now, there's so many different mudras, but this video is not about mudras. That's another form of energy work, though, because that's what it does. It evokes certain energy in your body. And yes, I do work with mudras. But now, currently, I'm not really doing yoga that as much because I do so many different things anyway. It's not necessary to overdo it. Like, you could pick a couple things to do and stick to those things. But at this time, when I was working for transit, I was doing yoga every single day. When I first started working there, I was working nights. I was working a night shift because the time you would work, the shifts that you could work was based on seniority, right? So I was new. So of course, when you're new, you're gonna work nights, at least majority of the time. And I got to a point where I was able to work days. So now when I switched to days, after a while, I was with a whole new group of guys. People I've never met before. A lot of these people, they either were working nights in different locations or they were already working days before. So I'm with a whole new group of people, and I was staying to myself the first day. Wasn't really speaking much. I was just very nonchalant, very cool, calm, just normal, very relaxed. And I did my job, went home. I think the first 2 days was like that. Didn't really speak to people much that day. There's times where I'm outgoing and there's times where I'm not really feeling so social, And the third day, there was this man. This is one of the guys that I'd never met before until I just started working days, right? And he started a conversation with me. He just came, started talking to me, like, what's up, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, I can't really remember the context of the conversation and what else we spoke about, because if it wasn't for what I'm about to say, I would have forgot about this conversation. But he says to me, it's an older guy too, like a much older guy. He's like, I see you be staying to yourself or whatever, but like you're very high vibrational. Now, him even using that terminology surprised me, because now today's world, I'm starting to hear that a little bit more, but even at that time, that was only about 2 years ago, I didn't really hear that. I only would hear it like online based on the type of content I would watch, but I never really heard like somebody in person like really come and say those words. So that alone shocked me, right? So he's like, you're very high vibrational. You're high vibrational. Like he kept saying, you're high vibrational. It's almost like a testimony because this guy did not know me at all. I was quiet. Like I said, I only worked with him 2 days prior to this. Those 2 days, I was quiet to myself. Internally, I was good. I felt good, but I wasn't expressing myself that much. Didn't feel the need to. I was chilling. Didn't even speak to the man before that. There was nothing I did physically to express myself in a way for him to say that. It wasn't like I was walking around all happy. I wasn't like I was bouncing around with all this energy. It wasn't like none of that. It wasn't like I was super talkative or anything like that. What made that man, of all the people, mind you, the crew I was working with when I was working days, it was about 30 of us. What made that person come to me, of all people? Because he was coming from nights, as I remember that as well. He was also coming from the night shift, so a lot of the people there was new to him too. What made him come to me though? Start a conversation with me and tell me how high vibrational I was. And he said that early in the conversation as well. And that to me was just telling me some people just have that sense. And I already knew that I was, but I also understood that most people wouldn't really be able to know that, or at least consciously be able to tell it. Subconsciously, you'll be able to notice if you've ever been around me in person, like there's something different about this guy. But the average person is not going to be able to pinpoint like, oh, this guy's high vibrational, especially when I haven't even interacted with you. That's how true it is. That's how real it is. I don't know much about the man. I don't know if he was conscious or what. I mean, that told me alone he was somewhat conscious of something. He was somewhat aware of something. But he literally told me, he said, you're high vibrational. He's like, you like to stay to yourself, but you're high vibrational. I feel your energy. Looking back, I wish I asked him more about that. Like, I didn't even ask because I was so surprised that he said this. And you know, I was also a little bit, you know, my ego was stroked a little bit as well because I knew what I was doing every morning. I was doing some real yoga and I could feel it in my body when I would do the yoga. I could feel the energies moving in my body when I would do it. So I knew I was doing something. But to get that recognition from somebody who I did not even know, you know, was a big deal. So at the time, I didn't even think to ask him, like, what makes you say that? I wish I did. You know, I wish I could go back and ask him that. I don't got the guy's number or anything like that. But maybe I'll see him again one day. Who knows? If I ever do, I definitely will ask him that. Like, what made him feel that from that day? Because there was nothing that happened. There was nothing that I did for him to say that. And that's just one example. There's been other times where people have told me that I have a very bright aura. I have a very high energy, that I'm different, all these types of things. But that one to me really stood out because I didn't know the man. I didn't interact with the man before this. You know what I mean? So it's different when a person tells you it and they're somewhat familiar with you compared to or opposed to a person who doesn't really know anything about you, hasn't really interacted with you at all, and you haven't really shown them anything for them to say that. But he sensed it. He felt it. People don't, like, you guys gotta understand, this energy thing is real. Now, if you choose to not believe it, or if you choose not to do the actual practices, because things don't just happen without you making it happen. You making it happen is you doing the necessary actions, just like these practices. So you'll never experience what a lot of people speak about, what some people speak about. And they don't want you to know this. So of course you were conditioned not to believe something like this because they don't teach it to us. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video, but we're kids. So unless you take the initiative and really apply yourself and stick with it, and it doesn't take long. You just got to be consistent. It's not something that's going to take you years, at least for you to see something, to experience something. You know, there's levels, of course. Of course, the more you do it, the longer you do it, new heights will be reached. But it won't take you long, maybe a few months, if that, to actually start to feel something. But you got to be actually doing it, give or take every day. It doesn't have to necessarily be every single day, but if you can, yeah, you might miss a day or two, whatever. But over time, your body never forgets. Your mind never forgets. The energy never forgets. It's like training a muscle. But this video is actually running a little bit longer than I planned. I rambled a little too much, so I'm just going to leave it at that. In the future, we'll probably, we definitely will. I just don't know when, but we'll definitely talk about more experiences that I've had. I'm basically here as like a messenger to remind y'all there's more to life than what you're used to. and what they're feeding us. But that's all I gotta say for today. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. I love y'all.